Well, it's that time of year, time for goodbyes and new beginnings. Today marks the final Hawkeye Sports Report of the 2012-2013 season and our year in review. 3 track and field individuals in a relay take home gold on Sunday at the Big Ten Championships, and baseball has a great final home weekend, taking a series from Michigan State. That and more on the season finale of the Hawkeye Sports Report. Welcome into the Hawkeye Sports Report, your official sports show of Iowa athletics. I'm Nick Dorman. Coming up in just a bit, we'll have a look back at some of the top moments of this past athletic season. But first, let's take a look back at what was a very successful weekend in Hawkeye athletics. The track and field teams traveled to Columbus for the Big Ten Championships over the weekend, and 4 events came home with gold. The women's team brought home an 11th place finish, and the men's team had a great showing, finishing 5th. Iowa won the men's 4x100 meter relay with seniors Jordan Mullen, Justin Austin, Ethan Holmes, and Josh Larney. They finished in a time of 40.21 seconds. Austin and Larney also took home first and second place respectively in the 100-meter dash. Austin also won the 200-meter title for the second time in his career. And in the 400-meter hurdles, senior Ethan Holmes won with a time of 50.78 seconds. The track teams will now head to the NCAA Regionals in Austin, Texas, which begins May 23rd. The baseball team hosted a Michigan State team in Iowa City over the weekend that came in 14 games over the 500 mark. Friday, Matt Dermody tied a career high with 9 strikeouts and a 6-2 win. Jake Yasinich was back in the lineup after battling injuries throughout the season. He had a pair of run-scoring hits. The Hawks put up 5 on the board in the 7th inning. Saturday, fans saw yet another pitching gem out of a Hawkeye hurler. Sophomore Sasha Kubel pitched 8 strong innings, only giving up 1 run. Brian Nabalski knocked in the go-ahead run in the 8th inning as the Hawks won 2-1. And Sunday was senior day for 6 Hawkeyes. However, it did not end in a W as Iowa dropped the series finale to the Spartans 4-2. The Hawkeyes will conclude the 2013 season this week at Purdue. The Iowa softball team saw its season end in Lincoln at the Big Ten Championships last week. Iowa held a 4-1 lead on Ohio State, but a grand slam and further damage ended Iowa's season as the Hawks fell to the Buckeyes. Despite a strong RPI, Iowa was left out of the NCAA tournament. They were the only team inside of the top 44 in the RPI that was left out of the field of 64. Coach Looper is definitely making some good progress with the team. Nothing to be ashamed about, but good things to come from them in the future. They finished their season with a 30-24 record. For the 5th straight season, the men's golf team will be competing in the NCAA Regionals. The Hawks will travel to Tallahassee, Florida, where they will be the number 10 seed in the Tallahassee region. They will tee off Thursday, May 16th, with the top 5 teams and the top 5 individuals not on a qualifying team advancing to the NCAA Championships in Georgia. This weekend will also mark the Big Ten Championships for head coach Steve Pritzker's rowing team in Indianapolis.
We had a little bit of a learning experience at the start of it, but we've come to have a lot more racing experience as the seasons and practices have gone along, so I'm really excited to see how we do this upcoming weekend at Big Tens.
Early on, we've had a lot of weather issues between rain and flooding and ice and wind. It's certainly been a rough training period for us, but it has been for the whole Midwest too. So early on, we were down in Texas for training and had 3 races at the end of the week, and had a rough time after a long week with that. And so we kind of challenged them and said, we'd like to in 2 weeks compete with that level, and the girls actually did. I mean, I thought they did a great job turning that around. And so the turning point I think was a little bit in San Diego, where this between the heat and the heat and the final, we were able to step it up, and then our home race got winded out, so we had about a 2-3 week period before we had another shot to really improve off that. And then we raced at Indiana with Notre Dame and Alabama, and we actually won 2 out of 3 there. So, we swept a couple of pretty good teams this year that I'm not sure we've done in a long time, so I think that's progress.
We're really excited. We had a good experience against Indiana 2 weekends ago when we were there, and we're really looking forward to seeing if we can knock out a couple of teams and just excel from where we ended up last year.
You want to be careful to say places and teams you want to beat. I think more that we want to walk out and say we know we had a good team effort, and so the girls are proud of what they've done. So I certainly think there's some places that would help us do that, but I don't want to get too far ahead of ourselves. I mean, I think the team's pretty excited. Rough with exams next week before Big Ten, so trying to take care of one day at a time, and then a little bit cliche, but then when we leave Friday, that they're excited for what we're doing next weekend.
We're really excited. Last year we placed last in the Big Ten, and so we've made some big strides this year. We have some big goals, beat a couple teams, so we're going to work our way up, and I'm excited to see where we place off.
The women's tennis team recently concluded their season and named junior Ruth Seaborn their MVP. Seaborn finished the year with a 13-8 record in the #1 slot in singles. Here's some more from the junior from London, England.
I was a soccer player until I was about 11, and then I was at one of my friend's house and they forgot that they had a tennis lesson, so I had to kind of go along with them. And then in order for me to play, I had to become a member of the club. So I became a member and just loved it since then.
Ruth made an enormous impact right away. She transferred from Florida State, came in, had a great fall, a couple of top 50 wins right off the bat. You know, we knew coming in she was something special, and being all Big Ten and leading our team and ranked in singles and doubles was really more than we could ask for.
I mean, playing top of the lineup, playing 1 and 2, there definitely is, a lot of pressure on you to kind of lead the team in a sense. But I didn't struggle with that at all. I don't feel like, I think it was very natural for me to come in and play 1 and 1 doubles 2 with Morven. I think there was a little bit of adjustment at the beginning, but since then I've been pretty comfortable with it.
All fall, we were kind of messing around with our combos, which is what we normally do, trying to figure out who's right for each other, and threw them together down in Florida, in Orlando, our first trip, and I mean, it just clicked on, it was one of those things, the light bulb just went on, and Morven is very active at the net, and Ruth can set her up with her serve. They did get better and better, and it was their confidence that grew. They got a couple wins here and there, and they didn't lose out of conference.
So for regular season as well, try and get my ranking in the top 30. I think that would be a very realistic and achievable goal. And for doubles too with Morven, we had some great wins this year, and we had, I think, a crucial match we had against Nebraska, whose team were ranked, I think, in the top 5. And we had a couple match points, but after 2 of the doubles matches are finished, you just stop the 3rd one. So we didn't get a chance to finish that one off. But I think if we would have managed to, have a little bit of extra time to finish that off, we could have been in a different position and, hopefully made the NCAA tournament. So I think next year as well, for the team and for myself, I think making the NCAA tournament is a big goal of ours.
The big thing for Ruth next year is going to be week in and week out, being able to kind of compete the way she can. Because we had a couple of valleys, which is why she's probably not in the singles tournament. A couple tough losses there that we cleaned that up. I mean, there's no reason she won't be top 25. And, her and Morven, their doubles, they had top 10 win this year. I mean, they had a couple near misses, and, they're in the NCAA tournament as well. So I think, we can't hit any of those valleys like we did this year, and sky's the limit.
Just I feel like kind of as a team we clicked, and as the coaches too have been so great and so passionate. I think that's probably the main thing. They've been so passionate with the team and trying to do their best for us to succeed.
And finally, it's hard to believe another athletic season is nearly in the books at the University of Iowa. 2012-2013 was another season full of highs and lows. Today we highlight some of the top moments from the past year.
It was Ron Rainey's soccer program who was making noise from the get-go in their 2012 season. They became the first team in soccer program history to open up the season with 4 straight shutouts, outscoring their opponents 15-0 in the 4-game stretch. They also set the school record for shutouts in a season with 10. 2012 had its ups and downs for Sharon Digman and the volleyball team. However, the brightest spot came in the first week of October. Fresh off a 3-1 win at Indiana the night before, Iowa hit the road at number 12 Purdue, where they swept the Boilermakers. The sweep was a first over Purdue since 2000, Digman's first ever win over a ranked team on the road, and the highest ranked team she has ever defeated. The 2 straight conference wins was the first time that feat had happened since 2008. The following weekend marked a big one for the Iowa football team. After opening the conference season with a convincing win over Minnesota, Iowa traveled to Michigan State looking to start the conference season 2-0. After a defensive battle through much of the game, Iowa finally found pay dirt in the 4th quarter on a Mark Weissman 5-yard touchdown run. After exchanging field goals in the first overtime, in the second, Mike Meyer hit his 4th field goal of the day. It was then up to the defense to stop the Spartans.
Out of the shotgun, Maxwell's going to throw it. Looking left, throws that way. The pass is deflected. Intercepted! Iowa wins! Greg Castile grabs a tip pass. The Hawkeye defense turns one on the Michigan State defense.
Castillo's interception sealed the deal and earned head coach Kirk Ferentz his 100th career win at Iowa. In women's cross country, graduate student Marika Shrula gave Hawkeye running fans something to cheer about. Shrula finally had a healthy season in her final year, and it paid off in her final 3 meets of the season. Shrula finished second in the Big Tens, third at the Midwest Regionals, and 7th overall at the national meet. She became Iowa's 4th top 10 finisher at the national meet since 2006. The Iowa field hockey team was by far the most successful during the fall season. Nationally ranked the entire season, their final game of the regular season proved to be one for the dramatic. After falling behind 2-0 in the second half to number 8 Northwestern, Iowa got goals late from freshman Natalie Confone and senior Sarah Drake to send the game to overtime, where Iowa somehow, someway found a way to win on this goal off the deflection. It was a must-win in hopes of securing a spot in the NCAA tournament, a win that eventually paid off as Tracy Grisbaum's squad earned their 2nd straight trip to the Sweet 16. It was Iowa field hockey's 22nd trip to the NCAA tournament, the most of any Big Ten school. In the tournament, they played at Virginia, where they lost a heartbreaker 3-2. Moving on to the winter season, the women's basketball team advanced to their 6th straight NCAA tournament, the only team in the Big Ten Conference to have accomplished that feat. They had the opportunity to host the NCAA tournament's first and second rounds, where Iowa knocked off a very good Miami squad the first round before falling to number 1 seed Notre Dame. But the storyline of the year was head coach Lisa Bluter notching career win number 600 at home against number 11 ranked Purdue. Iowa jumped out to a dominating 41-18 lead at halftime and never looked back. 8,576 fans filled the stands in Carver Hawkeye Arena that day as they witnessed Iowa improve to 5-0 against ranked opponents at the time, earning Bluter a win she will never forget. On the wrestling mat during the regular season, Iowa's brightest spot came on the evening of February 1st. A capacity crowd was on hand for Iowa's matchup with defending national champion Penn State. Matt McDonough got things off to a nail-biting start in the 1-2 matchup with an emotional overtime win over Nico Magaludis. Following him up was Tony Ramos, and I'm not sure if I've ever heard Carver Hawkeye Arena louder before after Ramos pinned Jordan Conaway.
Ramos, huge pin for the Hawkeyes.
Mark Ballweg, Derek St. John, Mike Evans, and Bobby Telford all also earned wins on the night, giving Iowa the 22-16 win over then number 1 ranked Penn State. Iowa would go on to win the Big Ten regular season title, finishing a perfect 8-0 in Big Ten duels. It was their 5th conference dual title in the last 6 years. And while it wasn't the showing Coach Brands and company were hoping for in Des Moines at the national championships, Derek St. John gave Hawkeye fans something to cheer about on the final night, becoming Iowa's 52nd national champion in a 3-2 decision over Jason Welch in the 157-pound finals.
For the first time ever, Derek St. John is a national champion.
However, the talk of the winter belonged to the men's basketball team. Flirting with the bubble of the NCAA tournament all season long, the team just couldn't get over the hump, just missing out on the NCAA tournament. For the 2nd straight year, Fran McCaffrey's squad received a bid to the NIT and once again played in front of a sold-out crowd not once, but twice in a matter of 3 days. Iowa knocked off Indiana State and Stony Brook before having to go on the road to Virginia in the quarterfinals. Iowa was a team that just could not get that signature road win throughout the season, but they finally got one with the season on the line in Charlottesville, Virginia, a place the Cavaliers didn't lose once throughout the ACC season. Iowa rode the back of junior guard Devin Marble as he poured in 24 points en route to a 75-64 statement victory. The win sent Iowa packing for New York City for the NIT semifinals, where another ACC opponent in Maryland awaited the Hawkeyes. Iowa jumped out to a 5-point first-half lead and led by double digits much of the second half before Eric May sealed the deal with a step-back 3 in the closing minutes, sending Iowa to the NIT championship game against Baylor.
8 seconds to shoot. 1 minute to play in the game. Eric, a step back. Good! A 3 by Eric May!
The win was Iowa's 25th of the season, which is tied for the second most in program history. Wrapping up the winter season, the men's gymnastics team landed on their feet at the national meet to close out the season. Iowa needed to finish in the top 3 of the qualifying meet to advance to the team finals, and they did just that. But it didn't come without a little controversy in the score. Iowa ends up advancing to the NCAA team finals by 1/10 of a point. They would wind up finishing 5th overall, which marked the highest finish nationally by a men's gymnastics team at Iowa since 2000. It was their first finals appearance since 2006. Javier Balboa and Anton Grushayev both earned All-American honors for the team. In the spring, the softball team earned 30 victories on the season, which was the most since 2009. They earned 6 victories over teams in the top 25, and sophomore shortstop Megan Blank became the all-time single-season leader in batting average, hitting .437 on the season, topping a record that stood for 20 years. Entering her junior season, she is batting .413 in her career, which is also tops in program history. And finally, Stephen Ime helped the men's golf team earn their 5th straight NCAA regional appearance. The junior was named first team All-Big Ten and earned co-medalist honors in the Hawkeye Great River Entertainment Invite and the Boilermaker Invite, becoming the first Hawkeye to win back-to-back tournaments since 1970. Congratulations to all teams on their seasons and for representing the University of Iowa in a first-class manner. Best of luck to everyone in the upcoming 2013-2014 season.
And a big congratulations going out to men's gymnast Javier Balboa and women's basketball player Morgan Johnson. Both were recently named Iowa's 2013 Big Ten Medal of Honor recipients. The awards are given annually to a student in the graduating class that demonstrates proficiency in both academics and athletics at each Big Ten school. Be sure to visit HawkeyeSports.com all summer long for all updates in Hawkeye athletics. From all of us here at Hawk Vision Productions, thank you for watching the Hawkeye Sports Report, the official sports show of Iowa Athletics. Go Hawks! We'll see you right back here in the fall.